Most travelers pack medicine the same way they did 5 years ago, without realizing TSA updated several key rules in 2026 that change what gets flagged at security and what doesn't. Pack it wrong, and you risk delays, a bag search, or in the worst case, missing your flight entirely while an officer sorts out a problem that proper preparation would have prevented. In this video, we are covering exactly how to pack medicine the right way under the current 2026 TSA rules, what changed, and the small habits that keep you moving through security without a second look. Like and subscribe before we start. Share this with someone who travels with medication, and let's get into it. 1. Medication is always allowed, but it has to be declared properly. TSA does not prohibit medication of any kind, whether prescription, over-the-counter, liquid, pill, or injectable. What changed in 2026 is how clearly officers are now trained to expect medication to be declared separately at the checkpoint, rather than discovered buried in a bag during scanning. Pulling your medication out and placing it in its own bin before your bag goes through is now the standard expectation. And skipping that step is the single most common reason medication triggers a slower screening process. The fix is simple. Keep all medication together in one dedicated pouch inside your carry-on, remove it before your bag enters the X-ray, and tell the officer you have medication in the bin. This single habit, declaring rather than letting it be discovered, is what separates a 5-second pass-through from an unnecessary delay. Larger airports in 2026 are also required to have a designated medical screening lane under the updated guidelines, staffed by officers specifically trained on accommodating medical items without defaulting to escalation. Asking at the checkpoint whether a medical lane is available, especially if you're carrying multiple medications or devices, can make the entire process noticeably smoother. Officers are not trying to confiscate your medication or make travel harder. They're trying to verify what's in front of them as quickly and accurately as possible. And the faster you help them do that by presenting items clearly up front, the faster everyone, including the line behind you, moves through the checkpoint. 2. Liquid medications. No longer follow the 3-1-1 rule. This is the update most travelers still don't know about. Liquid medications are explicitly exempt from the standard 3.4-ounce carry-on liquid limit. A full-size bottle of liquid prescription medicine, cough syrup, or a larger supplement is allowed through security without needing to fit into your quart-sized liquids bag. The 2026 guidelines made this exemption far more consistent across checkpoints, after years of officers misapplying the standard rule to medical liquids. The correct process is to remove liquid medications from your bag and place them in a separate bin for individual screening, distinct from your regular toiletries bag. Officers may swab the container with a test strip to confirm it isn't a prohibited substance, which takes about a minute and is entirely routine. Declaring the liquid up front, rather than having it discovered mid-scan, is what keeps this process fast. This exemption applies regardless of bottle size, so there's no need to decant a larger liquid medication into smaller travel containers just to satisfy the standard rule. Doing so can actually create more friction, since an unlabeled decanted container is harder for an officer to quickly identify than the original labeled bottle. This is also the change responsible for the most confusion at checkpoints over the past few years, since enforcement used to vary noticeably by airport and individual officer. The 2026 training update made this exemption a standard, explicitly taught part of officer onboarding, which means the experience should now be far more consistent no matter which airport you're flying through. 3. Pills don't need original packaging, but powders do get extra scrutiny. Solid medications such as tablets and capsules can travel in a weekly pill organizer, a simple bag, or their original bottle. TSA does not require proof of prescription for these items at a domestic checkpoint. Where the 2026 rules tightened is around powdered medications and supplements. Any powder exceeding 12 ounces, including powdered medications, now receives mandatory additional screening regardless of how it's packaged. This additional screening isn't a problem in itself, but it does take longer, often involving an officer opening the container and using testing equipment. If you carry a powdered medication in any meaningful quantity, keeping the original label attached or carrying a simple note from your doctor removes ambiguity and speeds the process up considerably. This rule applies broadly, not just to medication. Protein powders, supplement powders, and any other powdered substance over 12 ounces in your carry-on triggers the same screening step. So if you're traveling with both a powdered medication and an unrelated powdered supplement, expect both to be checked individually. If you regularly travel with a powdered medication, it can help to transfer a smaller portion into a clearly labeled travel-size container, rather than carrying the full original supply, as long as the labeling stays intact and legible. A smaller, well-labeled quantity is faster to screen than a large unmarked tub, even though both are technically permitted. 4. Syringes and injectable medications are fully permitted. Insulin, biologics, hormone therapies, and any other medication requiring a needle are allowed in full through the checkpoint, including the syringes, vials, and sharps containers that go with them. The 2026 update specifically addressed the surge in travelers carrying GLP-1 injectable medications, reducing unnecessary secondary screening that was previously triggered by unfamiliar auto-injector devices showing up on X-ray. Declare injectable items at the checkpoint the same way you would liquid medication before the bin goes through the scanner. You don't need to disclose your specific condition or medication name, only that you're carrying injectable medical items. Keep the kit together, rather than separating the syringe from the medication vial, since a loose syringe with nothing else nearby is far more likely to prompt questions than a clearly organized medical kit. Used needles belong in a proper sharps container, not loose in a bag or wrapped in tissue. If your medication requires refrigeration, an insulin travel case or cooling pack is also permitted through the checkpoint and should be packed alongside the rest of the kit so everything moves through screening as one cohesive, easily explained unit. The surge in travelers carrying GLP-1 auto-injectors specifically prompted this update, since officers were previously unfamiliar with the pen-style devices and routinely flagged them for secondary screening even when nothing was wrong. The updated training material now explicitly covers these devices, which has measurably reduced unnecessary delays for this growing group of travelers. 5. You don't need a prescription label, but it still helps. TSA does not legally require a prescription label or doctor's note for domestic travel with medication, including controlled substances. This surprises many travelers who assume documentation is mandatory. That said, carrying it anyway is still the smarter choice, because if a medication does prompt a question, a label or printed note resolves it in seconds, rather than turning into a longer conversation. For controlled substances specifically, traveling with the original pharmacy bottle and a name that matches your ID eliminates almost every possible question before it's asked. If you use a daily pill organizer for convenience, bring the original labeled bottle along too, even if it's mostly empty. The label functions as documentation, and documentation ends conversations quickly. One important exception worth knowing is medical marijuana. Even in states where it's legal, it remains a federally controlled substance, and TSA operates under federal law regardless of state legislation. Officers who encounter it are required to refer the matter to law enforcement, so cannabis-derived products should not be packed for air travel under any circumstance. For travelers genuinely needing a cannabis-derived treatment during their trip, the safer path is researching the legal status and access options at the destination itself, rather than attempting to bring any quantity through a checkpoint, since the legal risk and potential for confiscation simply isn't worth it, regardless of intent. 6. Medical devices have their own specific screening process. CPAP machines, insulin pumps, glucose monitors, and portable oxygen concentrators are all permitted, but each interacts with security differently. CPAP machines should be removed from their case and placed in a separate bin, similar to a laptop, for a clearer X-ray image. Insulin pumps and continuous glucose monitors don't need to be removed, but mention them before walking through the body scanner, since some device manufacturers recommend a pat-down instead of scanner exposure for sensitive equipment. Portable oxygen concentrators require advance approval from your airline, typically 48 hours before departure, and must appear on the FAA's approved device list. Handle that coordination with the airline ahead of time. At the checkpoint itself, the device goes through the X-ray in a bin, just like any other electronic equipment, and the process is straightforward once the airline paperwork is settled. CPAP machines do not count toward most airlines' carry-on bag limit, since they're classified as medical equipment rather than luggage, though this is an airline policy rather than a TSA rule, so it's worth confirming with your specific carrier before departure to avoid any confusion at the gate. You don't need to remove the water from a CPAP humidifier chamber before screening, though an officer may occasionally ask you to if the X-ray image isn't fully clear. Traveling with the chamber empty and filling it with distilled water after arrival is a simple workaround that some frequent travelers prefer, though it isn't required. 7. How to pack for the fastest possible screening. The single biggest factor in how smoothly medication clears security is how it's packed, not what it is. Keep every medication-related item in one dedicated pouch, never scattered across multiple pockets or buried under clothing. Liquid should sit at the top of the carry-on or in an easily reachable exterior pocket so they can be pulled out quickly, and pills in a clear-topped organizer are easier for an officer to visually confirm without opening anything. Know exactly where your medication pouch is before you reach the bin area. Digging through a fully packed bag while a line waits behind you is the most common source of stress and delay, and it's entirely avoidable with 30 seconds of preparation before you ever leave home. A well-organized medical kit reads clearly on an X-ray screen, and a clear read is what keeps the line moving. Position the pouch in an exterior pocket of your carry-on rather than buried inside the main compartment. This single placement decision means you can grab and remove it in one motion at the bin area, instead of unzipping the whole bag and searching through clothing while everyone behind you waits. If you're traveling with a family member's medication as well as your own, keep each person's medications in clearly separated pouches rather than combining everything into one bag. Mixed medications belonging to different people create exactly the kind of ambiguity that slows down screening, since an officer has no easy way to tell at a glance who each item belongs to. 8. Refrigerated medications. Need a plan beyond the checkpoint. Insulin, certain biologics, and other temperature-sensitive medications can travel with frozen gel packs, which are permitted through security as long as they are fully frozen solid at the time of screening. A partially melted gel pack is treated as a liquid and subject to additional scrutiny, so timing matters. The checkpoint itself is a brief interaction, but the bigger consideration is keeping the medication at a safe temperature for the entire travel day, not just the security line. A quality insulated travel case designed to hold temperature for 24 to 72 hours solves this more reliably than loose gel packs in a regular bag. For international flights, some airlines can arrange onboard refrigeration for medical necessity if you contact them in advance, which is worth a quick call for any trip longer than a few hours. The 2026 guidelines also formalized more consistent treatment of partially melted gel packs that are clearly associated with medical refrigeration needs and labeled accordingly. Officers still have discretion, but the training now explicitly covers this scenario, which means a slightly softened pack tied to a clearly labeled insulin kit is less likely to cause a problem than it was in previous years. For longer travel days involving multiple connections, plan ahead for where you'll be able to refresh ice or gel packs if needed. Many airport pharmacies and some airline lounges can provide ice on request for travelers with documented medical refrigeration needs, which is worth asking about during a long layover, rather than hoping the original pack lasts the entire journey. 9. International travel adds a separate layer of rules entirely. Everything covered so far applies to domestic TSA screening. The moment you cross an international border, a completely different set of import regulations applies, and they vary significantly by country. Some destinations require advance permits for specific medications, including common stimulant medications and certain cold medicines that are unrestricted in the US. Researching your destination's medication import rules before you pack, not after you've landed, is the only way to avoid a serious problem. For most medications and destinations, traveling with the original labeled bottle and a doctor's letter on official letterhead naming the medication, dosage, and medical necessity covers what's needed. For controlled substances specifically, contact the destination country's embassy well ahead of departure, since some require an import certificate that can take weeks to process. Pay attention to layover countries on your itinerary as well as your final destination. A 6-hour layover still places you within that country's legal jurisdiction, and a medication that's fine at your destination could still be restricted in a transit country you're only passing through briefly. Japan is one of the most frequently cited examples of strict medication import rules, with certain stimulant medications and some common cold medicines requiring advance permission before arrival. The general lesson applies broadly, though, since rules differ enough from country to country that researching each destination individually, rather than assuming what worked in one country applies everywhere, is the only reliable approach. 10. The pre-travel medication checklist for 2026. Before any trip, confirm you have enough medication for the full trip, plus 2 to 3 extra buffer days, all packed in your carry-on rather than checked luggage. Confirm liquid medications are easily accessible for separate screening, and that any powdered medication over the 12-ounce threshold is labeled or accompanied by documentation. Photograph your prescription labels and store the images securely on your phone as a backup. If you're traveling internationally, confirm the destination's import rules for every medication you're carrying, including any layover countries on your route. Pack medical devices according to their specific screening needs, and confirm airline approval in advance for anything like a portable oxygen concentrator. Finally, consider calling TSA Cares at least a week before any trip if you're traveling with a complex combination of medications and devices, or if a past checkpoint experience left you uncertain about what to expect. The service is free, takes about 10 minutes on the phone, and can arrange a passenger support specialist to walk you through screening in person at the airport. This short checklist, done once before departure, removes nearly every avoidable medication-related delay at security in 2026. If you've watched this far, you now know exactly how the 2026 TSA updates changed medication screening and how to pack so that none of it slows you down. The rules aren't complicated once you understand them, and the preparation takes minutes, not hours. A declared, well-organized medication pouch is the difference between a 5-second pass-through and an unnecessary delay at the worst possible time. The travelers who move through security smoothly with medication aren't getting lucky. They've simply taken the time to understand how the system actually works and packed accordingly. Every rule covered in this video exists for a reason, and once you know what officers are looking for, the entire process stops feeling unpredictable. Build the habit of running through this checklist before every trip, not just the next one. Rules continue to evolve, airports continue to adjust their procedures, and what worked perfectly last year may shift slightly by the time you fly again. A few minutes of preparation before each trip is a small price for a checkpoint experience that consistently goes smoothly. If this video makes your next trip through security easier, hit the like button right now, subscribe for more practical, up-to-date travel content every week, and share this with anyone who travels with medication and hasn't caught up on the 2026 changes yet. We'll see you in the next one.